UvaldeRadio.net. Good morning. Robert Miguel here with you. Randy Rogers Band. A little Texas country with some norteño in there too. Chupacabra. And man, this is exciting. I've got with me a best-selling author out of South Texas. This is exciting stuff. Please welcome author Eliza M. Garza. Good morning, ma'am. How are you? So I just saw that you're a best-selling author on Amazon.com, bestseller in children's, Hispanic, and Latino books. Now, admittedly, that's a very niche category.
Yes. I'm right now currently in the top 100.
Wow. Very, very cool. Again, we've got Eliza M. Garza here. Now, you're from the Rio Grande Valley, McAllen, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that where you're checking in from today?
Yes, sir.
So, in a nutshell, basically, we're going to have you in town here next week, Wednesday and Thursday, December 14th and 15th. You're going to be doing a book reading at the El Progreso Memorial Library. You're going to visit some of our campuses and just do some really cool, fun stuff for the kids in the Uvalde community. But let's go ahead and get into it. You have got a book called Raspas Con Mi Grandpa. Since this is your first book, I'm assuming that, author isn't something you've been doing all your life. You're a grown woman. Let's talk about what you do, like what's your real job and what have you been doing to make a living?
So I own a Mexican street eats business here in South Texas. It's called Iced Cube, and I have a raspa store in real life. That's what it is.
Yeah. And what a cool job. So what got you into the raspas business? I mean, was it something that you ever thought you'd do? Is it a family business? Go ahead and tell me, how does one, get into that line of work?
It is so interesting. I started my business in the middle of the pandemic in May of 2020. The day I was supposed to launch my business in March of 2020, South Padre Island shut down. It was considered an epicenter for the virus. I waited about 2 months, and I officially opened anyway in May of 2020 at Beach Resort at South Padre Island. I had a little kiosk art there. It was called Beachside Snow Cones at the time, and I went ahead and took a stab at it. When I was little, my dad would always talk to us about having a snow cone stand at the island, and one day the opportunity unfolded for me to be inside of the resort. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at it, see what happens. And it literally snowballed into something that I could have more than I could have ever imagined. In just a year, I ended up buying a store called Iced Cube, and then a few short months after that, it became a franchise. And so now I have my store, Iced Cube. The location at the island is no longer in business. However, I do have my store in McAllen, Texas, called Iced Cube. Mexican street eats.
So now, I mean, it's a cool line of work, but what did you do beforehand, if you don't mind? I mean, is this obviously, since you've been doing this for only a short time, this probably wasn't you didn't study for it, right? I mean, it wasn't like your career path. It sounds like it's something that just kind of fell in your lap. Did you have plans for something else, or did you have another career that it sounds like this is kind of a side hustle gone full time.
Yeah, absolutely. Before, I've always had an entrepreneurial fire about me. That's something about the Rio Grande Valley, is that we have a lot of people with grit and a fierce entrepreneurial spirit here. Mm-hmm. So you'll find people with side hustles turned full-time business owners everywhere, because people really do just follow their dreams here. It's something that I love about the Valley. But before that, my goodness, I did so many things. I was an event coordinator. I was an energy broker. Wow. I worked at a law office. I bartended. I mean, I've done so many different kinds of things. And finally, whenever I had my business, I felt like this is something that I wanted to do. It's just something that I felt like I could turn into a profitable business because the profit margins are so low, and I did. And so that this is actually my career now, and it's evolved into inspiring this book. And so it's kind of just so crazy how it snowballed into my life, and it took over my whole life. So,
now,
yeah.
It sounds like those previous jobs that you had might all have something to offer with that entrepreneurial spirit like you talk about. Did you feel like some of those talents and some of that knowledge base that you acquired from those other past jobs helps you currently with what you're doing now and what you're continuing to do in the future?
Oh, my goodness, absolutely. When I was 19 years old, I worked at Red Lobster. It was one of my first jobs as a server, and there I learned hospitality from one of the best well-known names in hospitality, which is Darden. And even back then, when I was only 19, I'm 38 years old now, I remember so many things that they taught us about hospitality that play into my role of having a kitchen now, of having my own restaurant. It's not a stand, it's an actual store with a dining room. I have a kitchen, so it's a brick and mortar shop. It's not like a little snow cone stand.
Right.
So it's an actual place where you can actually sit and eat some food and have a snow cone and stuff like that. So yes, all of it has been a culmination of wonderful experiences that I get to put into my roles today.
So obviously, you've done good in this. You made it work for you. And then what inspired you to decide to write a book that's kind of based on this job of yours?
So I don't know if people can relate, but sometimes there's a little fire that burns in your heart and soul that whispers that you are going to do something one day. You don't know when, you don't know how, you just know that it's going to be part of your destiny. And children's books was always a whisper in my heart, always a rumble in my soul. I always knew I was going to write books. I just didn't know when. And last year I went through a very dark time professionally, and I thought, you know what, I may lose everything. I'm going to need a plan B. I'm just going to try writing a book. And it fell out of me within 45 minutes onto the computer screen. I wrote it. It was based off of a memory that I had with my grandfather. And after I had it, I was like, okay, it's here. What do I do with it now? And so it actually ended up being such a joyous year, putting it together, learning, finding the illustrator, bringing it to life, editing it, and everything all the way down to how to navigate online publishing. There was a lot of learning involved. But yeah, I knew I always wanted to write children's books, and it's so ironic how that pain brought forth my purpose, and that's what brought forth this book.
So again, based on a memory with your grandpa, Raspas Con Mi Grandpa, obviously you're the right person to write it because it's what your life is now. I like how the book title has a subtitle, A Spanglish Story. So obviously you got a little Tex-Mex, you got a little American, like some Spanish and some English mixed in together.
Yes.
Culturally, I haven't read the book, but I've seen a little bit about it online. Culturally, this thing sounds pretty interesting, and it sounds like something that would be, I guess, really fun for the youth, here in Southwest Texas and the Rio Grande Valley. Tell me, what has the response been from the kids thus far, and even the parents?
Oh, it's been wonderful. I thought this was just going to be a book for children. However, it's creating such a nostalgia in adults that they are buying it for themselves.
Yeah.
I go to schools and I read almost every day at a different school, and it's very common for me to look up during the reading and see teachers with tears in their eyes because they are remembering a memory that they had with someone they love, whether it was their grandpa or their dad or their mom or whoever, But Raspas are such a huge part of our culture and how we celebrate and who we are. And so it's just been such a joy to see the evolution of this book take on a life of its own and impact people in different ways. The children are wanting to relive the book, and they are coming to the store, putting away their electronics, and wanting to create a memory with someone they love over a raspa. And to me, that is the most amazing thing out of all of this, because kids are hooked on their iPads nowadays, so the fact that they want to put one away and have a grandparent take them out on an adventure so they can relive the story is phenomenal.
I noticed also on your website, you've even got a kind of a corner reserved for photos of people with their grandfathers. That's really fun.
Yes, that's been building. Originally with the book, what really inspired it was obviously my life experiences and my store and my grandparents. But I really wanted children to feel empowered and connect to their culture and their language. Growing up, there was always a little bit of shame attached to me speaking Spanish in school sometimes. And so I never really knew when it was okay to speak Spanish and when it wasn't. It was always, it's something that I didn't really embrace until my adulthood, and I was sometimes a little embarrassed about. So then I thought, you know what, if a child can identify, embrace, and understand their culture early on and their language early on, then there won't be any shame attached to it. On the contrary, it will create a more authentic version of themselves as an adult, and they'll really know and want to embrace everything they are, And so that was my intention, but as this book has taken on a life of its own, not only has it done that for the child, and not only has it encouraged the dual literacy, however, people are saying, look, this is me and my grandpa. It's a thing that we used to do growing up, and they're posting pictures and sending photos of their grandparents or maybe their great-grandparents, It just has dated back, to the 1920s. I've seen some photos. So it's absolutely amazing, the memories that snow cones bring to people's lives. It's beautiful.
Now, you mentioned something that's interesting to me, that shame that you say you experienced, and for me also being an acculturated Hispanic, there was a time when we were younger where, you didn't know what the appropriate language was to speak, in which group and whatnot. That sounds like an interesting lesson. Now, does this book have like a moral to the story, or is there a lesson that's kind of, most kids' books, you do take away some kind of learning point. Is there a message in this book?
Absolutely. So the book is in English and Spanish, and so it encourages the child to speak both languages. It also teaches the child, where their snacks come from, what is chamoy, where does tamarindo come from, these things that we eat and we just know they taste good. We really don't know about them.
You're right. We don't know enough about this stuff. This is great.
We just eat it.
I'm like, what is chamoy anyway? What is that stuff?
However, the message that I do leave with the children afterwards, at the end of the book, there's a picture of the real Grandpa Chavez, who's one of the main characters in the book. And I do tell the children, I'm like, look, this is my grandpa. He's no longer here with me, but I've got to bring him back to life for all of you today. We all got to experience him. If you have people in your life that you love, you still have the chance to create memories with them. But in order to create a memory with them, you have to do one thing. You have to put your phone away. You have to turn the TV off. You have to put the iPad away. And you have to connect and talk to them the way I'm talking to you. You can do it with the snow cone. It makes it a lot much more fun. But you don't need anything to create memories. You just have to make sure that you're fully present and that you're engaged with the person that's in front of you.
What a fantastic lesson. I'm going to applaud right now in the middle of that real quick. Don't turn off your devices. Don't turn off your radio yet, because we've got on the phone Eliza M. Garza, author of Raspas Con Mi Grandpa, available on Amazon now, one of the bestsellers in children's Hispanic and Latino books. And Eliza's coming to Uvalde next week, Wednesday, December 14th, and again on Thursday, the 15th, for some readings. So you're going to be at the El Progreso Memorial Library on Wednesday, and will you do the schools on Thursday? Let's go and talk about the schedule as you know it. I know it will evolve, but give us some information as to where we can catch you.
So for sure, I know I'll be at El Progreso Memorial Library at 10:30 a.m. on December 14th. We will have a story time. The Grinch That Stole Christmas will be with me, and we'll have a stack of books to give away to some lucky winners. I think we may do like the first 20 people to arrive will receive free books, Raspas Con Mi Grandpa books. And so we'll do a giveaway, a book signing, photos, and then we will all end in a big raspa party.
So you're going to have some actual real-life raspas. Now, are you going to make them for the kids? Are there people? Are the kids going to make them themselves? Who's going to make this big mess?
Well, the Grinch will be helping me, and we'll have some little elves that are helping us make the snow cones.
Very good, very good. And that's going to be, again, on Wednesday, December 14th, 10:30 at the El Progreso Memorial Library. They always do their 10:30 story hour, usually with Mrs. Martha, but she's taken a step to the side to let Eliza run the show there. It sounds like a great time. Having the Grinch, hopefully he brings Christmas back with him this time around. And some free books. Now, if you run out of the free ones, will you have some for sale as well, too?
Yes, absolutely. We'll have some for sale. And I'm also going to be stopping at Uvalde Elementary and Dalton Elementary with other elementaries that will probably be put into the mix soon. But as far as those times, I'm not sure yet. But I know it'll be on the 14th and 15th. We're still honing down that schedule.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. I know the kids are going to absolutely love it. Where can we find the book if we can't make the event? Best way, Amazon.com. Are there any other outlets we can get it?
Yes, so online, Amazon, and Barnes & Noble.
Very good. I think I saw also that you plan to do some hardcovers and some other stuff. What are the future plans with Raspas Con Mi Grandpa?
Yes, so right now, Target has it as well. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
But we're looking at putting some other retailers, and hopefully hardcovers will be ready by the beginning of February.
That is fantastic. And, hey, Christmas is around the corner. This would be a great gift idea as well, too. So, yeah, we're excited to have you in town. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And it's great. Thank you for sharing your story. I mean, it sounds like you have got some cool stuff going on. And before we wrap it up, one last question. Are you going to continue writing more books? And if so, what kind of inspiration do you have, and what directions are these books going to go in?
So I think that people have connected so well to this book because it talks about our culture and an item that we eat regularly that connects us. And so I think I am going to do a whole cultural series, and the next one will be about pan dulce y café.
No, I was going to say, you could go on for ever and ever. You'd be like tacos con mi abuelita, and, That's fantastic. Pan dulce, that's good stuff. You know what? You need to do a book specifically on that pink cake, because I don't know what's going on there, but
with the sprinkles.
That pink cake is so good, right? So, Eliza, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We look forward to having you in town next week. The website, if I'm not mistaken, ElizaMGarza.com. It's just simple as that, right?
Yes, and you could also follow my journey on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you, Kate. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to wrap it up here with Eliza M. Garza, author of Raspas Con Mi Grandpa, here on Uvalde Radio. Thank you, ma'am.